One thing that's not good to see, at least for a lot of investors, are the futures down to start this Monday morning, second Monday in a row. I know you have a lot of concerns about the Delta variant and its potential impact on the markets. When I look at the numbers, cases hit a 15-month low back in June. Right now, we're trending pretty high, 43,700 new cases per day, about a 65% increase over the 7-day moving average. How big of an impact do you think that's having on futures this morning?
Frank, I think it's having an impact on futures, and I think it'll be having an impact for some time until we figure out exactly what's going to happen. Now, the backdrop is, like you mentioned correctly, market is up 17% year to date. Now, if we keep going at this pace, we're going to be up 34, 35% on the year. I mean, that is really quite extraordinary. So should the markets be a little bit choppy for the next few months? I would say yes.
So choppiness is one thing. It's a question of whether the broader market's going to be choppy or you see certain sectors being choppier than others. What sectors do you see as the outperformers? What other ones do you see as being more susceptible to this Delta variant concern that seems to be hitting the market, especially on Monday mornings?
I think the sectors that are very much troubled, it's heartbreaking. The reopening trade has really been called into question with this Delta variant. We were expecting, you mentioned Ryanair earlier, we're expecting big things from the travel industry. That's going to be called into question. Tourism, hotels, any of that reopening trade is now in trouble. Furthermore, I think if you look at the energy sector, energy at one point was up 45% on the year. Now it's only up about 25%. Energy lost 10% in the last month. I'm going to be betting with tech. I think tech is the place to be. High quality blue chip tech.
So, Kay, I know you're big into tech, and you have a few stocks you want to talk to us about. One of the ones I thought was really interesting was Trimble. Can you kind of explain why you're so bullish on this stock?
I do, and if I have time, I want to talk about C as well. Trimble is great because it's at the intersection of tech and farming, agriculture, and also infrastructure. Because what it does is it's got a fancy software, GPS-linked software and a hardware that you will put on your bulldozer or you'll put on your combine or your John Deere tractor. So now a farmer no longer needs a very high-priced, high-quality person to operate these items. You put it on your tractor, it'll spread the seed. It's never going to miss a spot. It's never going to double seed. Same thing. You have a mining operation. You've got a fancy bulldozer. You need to take it over somewhere and dig it in the ground. This will do it for you. It'll guide it with its software, with the GPS and the hardware. So Trimble has been one of our top holdings for a long time. We think it's a great name to hold long term.
Yeah, Kate, I want to ask you about this because while this is obviously a tech play, it seems to lean very heavily on the idea that commodities and materials and things like that are going to see a big boom in the second half of the year, and demand for this product is going to increase. Is that how you see the second half of the year playing out?
Well, I'm not sure about commodities booming because we've had a pretty big boom in commodities already. So my guess would be that probably that may not continue. Okay, we've had problems with the supply chain, problems. You saw what happened with lumber. So I actually think that on the commodity side, the material side, we might see a subside. But this is something that farming, everything is technology. You go to build a building, you use Trimble software. First thing they do is they'll build it for you in a virtual environment so you see all the problems before you put a single shovel in the ground.
Got it. I want to get to C before we go. This is really interesting. This is a stock that you have. It's ticker SE, but the name of the company C. It's a way to play e-commerce and tech without China. Can you kind of explain very quickly before we have to run?
Yes, very quickly. Okay, you mentioned Didi and what's happening with China. The Chinese government is not pro-business. So here's a way to play 600 million people in Asia, places like Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan, 600 million people. They also have a position in South America. It's gaming and e-commerce. So think of an Amazon.com with an e-commerce play, doubled last year, revenues growing tremendously, large population, growing population. It's a premium software. We think C is a buy.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.